When you accept Jesus Christ and you become a Christian, Jesus Christ becomes your husband. The principle of Jesus Christ being a husband can be a little bit misunderstood by many, because sometimes we understand that Jesus Christ is our husband collectively as the body of Christ, but he's also your husband as an individual because you are part of the body of Christ. Jesus Christ is the head of the body. He is the husband of the church. But you are part of the church. You are a member of the body of Christ. And so we are the bride of Christ collectively and as individuals. It's important to understand that. This is not in a romantic way. It's very important that I emphasize that. It's not in a romantic way where Jesus Christ is your boyfriend and of course we are all coming from different levels of faith, but I want you to understand this spiritual concept that first, Jesus Christ is your husband spiritually. He is your head. And why is that? Because of John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, Jesus Christ, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. And when you look at Jesus on the cross, and he is pierced on his side, and blood and water begin to come out, it shows us the birthing of the church. He dies for you, and he redeems your life when you believe in him. He becomes the way to the Father, and he is the head of the church. So in this new covenant, we have a head. It's no longer Moses in the law. It's no longer the law and Moses. We have a new head who is Jesus Christ. And him being the head, it means he is our husband. So when we read Proverbs chapter 31, verse 11, it's important that we see Jesus Christ first. It's important that we understand that principle of Jesus Christ being our head, because when you understand that, you won't be trying to strive to be a good wife, striving to look a certain way, look like a Proverbs 31 woman, because sometimes you can strive to look a certain way, but it's already inside of you when you begin to understand these principles. So when it says that the heart of her husband safely trusts in her, this relates to you in every area of your life. It's speaking about faithfulness. So you need to begin to look at how faithful you are to Jesus Christ in every area of your life. Because before this Proverbs 31 woman is faithful to her husband, before the husband, this physical husband, is safely trusting in her, it means that she has a certain understanding about faithfulness, and she applies certain principles in other areas of her life. And this area is just showing the overflow of that understanding and wisdom that, hey, I need to be faithful with what I have. The Bible tells us, Jesus Christ tells us in one of the Proverbs, it tells us about faithfulness. It tells us that there were different servants and they had different levels of talents. Some had 10, some had 5, some had 1. And the Bible tells us that those that were faithful with the 10, God added more. And the one, there's a person who had 1 talent. That person buried the talent. And so there was no gain, there was no interest earned, there was nothing that was being conceived because this talent was hidden in the ground. This is important to understand when we read Proverbs chapter 31 verse 11. This is why it's telling us that he has no lack of gain, because this woman is not burying the things that God has entrusted her with. Some of you, God has entrusted you with beauty. What are you doing with your beauty? What are you using it for? Is it to glorify God, or is it to gain something for yourself? Or are you just parading it for everyone else to see? There is no interest being earned. Some of you are so intelligent. Some of you are so talented. Some of you can speak so well. What are you doing with the gifts, the talents, the skills? Some of you are so highly educated. If somebody else was in your position, somebody else is wishing to be in your position. You have a master's, you have such and such you have such and such a degree, and somebody else is wishing, I wish I had those qualifications. What are you doing with the qualifications that God has given you? We have to first understand these things spiritually and physically before we even tap into the area of marriage. Because it's not when you say I do that then you suddenly become faithful. It's not after you walk down the aisle that suddenly you become somebody who that suddenly your husband begins to safely trust in you. There has to be fruit. Where is the fruit of faithfulness in different areas of your life? When God gives me something to do, I know that there's grace for transformation, and I'm excited to announce Wisdom for Wives. This is for the wife in preparation and the wife in marriage. Now, a wife is beyond the physical responsibilities within a marriage. It's also about her mindset. And your mindset always reveals your spiritual maturity or your spiritual position. And so this is for the wife in preparation and the wife in marriage, particularly the new wives. But if you are a seasoned wife, you are free, you are welcome to be part of this. Now, we are looking at the home. We'll be looking at the marriage bed. We'll also be looking at the mystery of marriage. And my husband will be joining me on this part. And also we'll be looking at the parent, and we'll be looking at you as a woman and a woman of God. There isn't really a set price on this. This will be valued by you personally. But listen, registration is for a limited amount of time, so please make sure that you do register. If you are interested, head on to www.daphneavia.com. All the details are on the description box. And I'm so excited to serve you, and I'm excited to impart this wisdom, revelation, and grace that God has for this particular Wisdom for Wives 2025. You don't want to miss this. God bless you.